Access Module 2 Visual Workshop, we are going to practice importing some spreadsheets to a database to create tables, appending some tables by importing a spreadsheet, and creating some relationships and see what it means why we create those relationships. So I have already downloaded all these Excel spreadsheets and saved them to my computer. And they're closed. I looked at them to see the information. Now I'm going to download the student data file. I will open it and enable contents, and we'll save it. And I'll save it to my homework folder and add my last name, first initial. Oops, I think the name of this one is going to be College Courses. And save. So we'll enable our contents. Let's take a look at, we have two tables here. The departments table, which currently has 12 records. We can look down here at the bottom and see the record count. Remember, each one of these, a related group of data, is a record. There are two fields in this table. I'm going to open this, auto-fit this field. We have the department ID and the department name. I will close this table. It's asking me if I want to save because I opened up this field a little bit, so I'll say yes. The other table is the professor's table, and we have 16 records. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fields. The email field doesn't look like it's being used. I'm going to go to design view real quick, right? And here's a place where we can check where the primary key is. We can see our key is right here for the professor ID field. And I believe in the departments table, our primary key is the department ID. So let's go ahead and import the other spreadsheets so that we can create some relationships. I'm going to actually open up the professor's table one more time just to show you here is the department ID, right? So we can have more than one professor in the same department. So this is one reason why we use these primary and foreign keys to start really creating these relationships. So we will go to external data, new source, from file, Excel. The first one we are going to import will be the majors spreadsheet, and we are going to import this and append it to the departments table, meaning that this spreadsheet is going to be imported into the departments table. So we say that it's appending it, it's making a change to this table. And the first column row headings is grayed out because, again, we're not creating a new table, we're just bringing this information into a table that is already created. When you do that, you need to make sure that the spreadsheet column headings match exactly to the table field names. Even if there is a typo in one of these headings here that you're bringing in from the spreadsheet, when you try to append it, you will get a message from Access saying that it can't find a certain field. So spelling counts if you were doing this from scratch and importing. You had created your table from scratch. Maybe you want to make sure that when you create your table, if you know you're going to be bringing in a spreadsheet, that these field names are spelled exactly like they are on the spreadsheet. So now we can see we have 24 records, so we brought in 12 new records. Makes it a lot easier than having to type them out. The rest of the spreadsheets that we're going to import will all be creating new tables. So the first one will be the classes. We can stick with the defaults for this window here. Here we want to make sure the first row contains column headings is checked off. We'll stick with the defaults here. We want to choose our own primary key. You can see right now that it Access added a primary key and it just added an ID field. Once we click on choose my own, that default field goes away and it just picks the very next field that's in your spreadsheet. If that wasn't the field that you wanted, you can either click on a field or you can use the pull down over here to choose the field that you did want. And we'll say finish and close. And we'll continue to the next spreadsheet. The next one will be enrollments. We'll say okay. We're good here. First row contains column headings, needs to be checked off. We want to choose our own primary key, which will be the enrollment ID, and we're done. We don't need to save any of these steps here. The next one will be the sections spreadsheet. Okay. Make sure there's a check mark there. We're good here. We'll choose our own, the section number. And lastly, the student spreadsheet. We need to put a check mark in this one. It wasn't there. We'll choose our own primary key, the student ID, and finish. Okay, let's go ahead and create some relationships. So database tools, relationships. It looks like all our tables are showing here. If they weren't showing, we can always click on this tool right here, show table, and you can add your tables. So now we're going to drag from primary keys to foreign keys. So the foreign key is a field in another table that is exactly the same that it is in a table that it's the primary key. And we are going to enforce referential integrity, and I'll show you exactly what that does in a few minutes. We're going to take the class number primary key and drag it to the class number foreign key. And we will take the professor primary key and drag it to the professor foreign key. The student ID. And enrollment ID is going, where is that enrollment ID going? Actually, it's not going anywhere. We're going to do section number primary to section number foreign. And there we go. It looks like we have all of our one-to-many relationships, right? So we have one department ID, and in the professors table, there are many professors, maybe in one department. Or maybe we have one student ID, and then in enrollments, we have many students enrolled. I'm going to close my relationships here. So for example, the departments table, we know that the department ID in the departments table is the primary key. I'm going to open up the professors table, and I'm going to add a new professor. So the professor ID is the primary key, so I can make a new primary key, a unique professor ID for myself if I want to. And my department is tech. I like to give myself lots of money usually. We'll see how that looks. And I'm going to hit my tab key, And now I have this message. You cannot add or change a record because a related record is required in the table departments. So this is telling us that I can't create a new department ID in the professors table. Before I do that, I would have to, I'm going to hit my escape key to get out of there, and it deleted that record. I would have to first go to the departments table and add that primary key there. And that's what we call enforcing referential integrity. It helps to maintain the integrity of your database so that people just can't enter data willy-nilly. There is some order to it. So now if I wanted to add myself tabbing through, and it went in right away. So I just wanted to show you a little bit why we create those relationships and what that really means to enforce that referential integrity.